We're so sequentured. We're so sequentured. We're so sequentured. Are you recording? You are recording. Good morning, welcome to here. I'm gonna get water, okay? Give me a moment. Sorry. Today we're gonna talk about something, okay, we're gonna talk all about the importance of root notes. We're gonna talk about what it even is, and we're gonna talk about just how it is the compass of all of applied music theory. To the fretboard, you know? And so maybe you know what a root note is. You've probably heard of it once or twice before, but maybe you don't know what that is, okay? Or you do, but you still don't really get it. You know, don't worry, I'll clear it all up today. And so, what is a root note? That's where we're gonna begin, okay? Well, there are two definitions of root notes that I'd like to cover, if that's all right, you know? The first, okay, is that a root note is the theoretical center of any musical structure. So a chord, a scale, an arpeggio, whatever, you know? So example, if we take the A major chord, the notes that go into that chord are A, C sharp, and E, okay? The root of it is going to be the A note. Yeah, and it's going to be the A note because we've used the A major scale to build it. I don't know where it is, down there? Probably down there, yeah. And so let's quickly go over that, okay? So a major chord is built out of the first, third, and fifth degree of a major scale. So we would go into this A major scale, pick the first, thirds, and fifths, and there we have our notes that make the A major chord. The 1 degree, okay, being the A note. And if we extrapolate even further than that, okay, the root note of the A major scale is the A note. Why is that? Well, because we applied the major scale formula to the musical alphabet starting on the A note. And I have a whole course about that. I have a whole video course where I talk about how to build major scales and the chords from them and all that stuff. Okay, yeah. But the point is, okay, the root note is the note that any musical structure, okay, is centered around. Yeah. We're so sequentured. We're so sequentured. We're so sequentured. We're so sequentured. Now, the second definition of root note is the applied version of the theory we just mentioned. So just like in written theory, all right, where there is a root note in every musical structure, there's also a physical root note in every musical structure that we actually play on the guitar. Yeah, for example, okay, if we take this major chord, which I'm gonna show you in a moment, right now, it's probably there, and I'll play it also. Yeah. If we look at this major chord shape, okay, we could see that there are scale degrees in it, don't we? Yeah, we see the first degree, the third, and the fifth degree. And we already mentioned and covered in our other definition there that the first degree, okay, is the root chord. Yes? Yes. And so notice how in this chord structure, it does not tell us, and I didn't write, what chord it is, right? Is it an A major? Is it B major? Is it C sharp major? I don't know, and it doesn't matter. Because with this one chord shape, you could play all of them. Yeah. All we need to do is apply the root note. Do you hear the wicker basket under my feet jingle jangling? We need to apply the root note in these chord shapes appropriately to the fretboard to play whatever chord we'd like. Let me show you. In our first definition example, okay, we mentioned how the first degrees of a musical structure are the root notes. Remember? Yeah, remember when I said the major chord made out of the first, third, fifth degree, and the first degree was the A note, and the A note was the root note? Remember I said that? Well, that same theory is going to apply in practice. Every first degree in any musical structure is the root note of that shape, okay? So for example, again, with this major chord, okay? If we wanted to apply this chord shape, suppose we wanted to use it to play an A major chord. Our A major chord that we talked about. We've been talking about it this whole time. Yeah. We would just have to line up the first degrees in this chord shape to A notes on those same strings, okay, on the fretboard, and then there we have the major chord. Okay, listen, look, A note here, A note here. Wait. Yeah, I think sequentured means when you're so quenched and you're no longer thirsty. And so, by the way, you also don't have to pay attention to the multiple root notes in the chord. As long as you line up one of the root notes in the musical structure to the note whose chord you want to play, the other one will automatically line up as well. Yeah. And so again, this major chord shape, okay, it's just a chord shape. The shape itself does not tell you what chord you're playing. No, the root notes do. Yes, and that's also why I like to refer to the root note as the chord identifier as it relates to chords, because it tells you what chord you're playing. Okay, okay, all right? And so that's it. Look, yeah, the same logic works for every other musical structure. Excuse me. Let's now take a look at a pentatonic scale, for example. That's another musical structure. Yeah, sure. Okay. If we take a look at the D minor pentatonic scale, okay, the theory of it, all right? So the root of the D minor pentatonic scale is, of course, the D note, yeah. And again, why? Because we use the D major scale to build it. Yes. And so the minor pentatonic scale formula is a first degree, flat third, fourth, fifth, and flat seventh, right? Yeah. And so again, we would apply that scale formula to the D major scale, and that's how we get the D minor pentatonic scale. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Again, the first degree being the D note, which is the root note. Yeah. And so now the applied version of this minor pentatonic scale, okay, it works exactly the same as our chord did, okay? And so here on the screen is a minor pentatonic shape. One of them, right? There's 4 others. And wherever the first degrees are in this shape are our root notes. And so again, okay, there is no defined definition of what minor pentatonic scale this is. D minor, A minor, G minor, F sharp, D sharp, A minor, C minor, A minor. We don't know, okay? And that is where the importance of root notes are. I lost my train of thought. The shape itself does not tell you what scale you're playing. The root notes do. So if we wanted to take this minor pentatonic scale and use it to play the D minor pentatonic scale, we would have to line up the root notes in the scale to a D note on the fretboard. Okay, and so we found it right there. No, there. Yeah, and then you just... And then there you have your minor pentatonic scale. We're so sequentured. We're so sequentured. And so that same logic works with every other musical structure. And so here's my point. Here's my point. Without root notes, okay, and the understanding of them, we cannot apply any musical structures to the fretboard. Nope, not any of them, not a single one. It's not possible. They are crucial, okay, to the application methodology of the fretboard. Crucial. And so it is very much worth it, okay, I'm just gonna lay down a moment, to take the time to memorize where the root notes are in all of our musical structures. Yes. And I know that sounds impossible, but it's not, because here's the thing. Once we understand the cage system, sorry, I just threw the cage system out at you out of nowhere, but once you do, we see how all of our musical structures are organized within 5 caged categories. And so the placement of the root notes within each of those 5 caged categories remains in the exact same position. Did I say exact? Okay, let's go with it. For every single musical structure in that category. And I have a whole video about that specifically, but quickly we'll go over it. Let's say we play this E-shaped major chord. The one we played before, okay, we played it before. It was the E shape. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it is. The root notes are where they are, right? Okay, now great. If we take a look at the E-shaped major scale now, again, in the same E category, where are our root notes? In the exact same position. Fabulous. Now let's take a look at the E-shaped arpeggio. Yeah, E-shaped, same category. Where are our root notes? In the exact same position. Fantastic. And the same works for the other 4 cage categories. They're all going to remain in the same position, okay? And so that's it. Yeah, that's all. Listen, I really want to talk about my earrings now. Look, they're little record earrings. And here's the story about how I got these record earrings. I went into the forest in Nepal. I went down a little bike path that they had there. Yeah, there were little raspberries along the way. So I stopped along to eat some. So I was late for my appointment in the forest of Nepal. Sorry, it happens. What do you want me to tell you about it? I was on the trail eating raspberries, and the problem was they're very, very, very tender. And so my fingers got full of raspberry. And so I wanted to wash them. So I went around the forest of Nepal, and I was looking for little wet wipes. I went all around the trees. I went all around the lakes and the little crevices. And I was asking all the forest creatures if they had wet wipes. And they told me no. And I said, that's weird. You should probably have wet wipes because you're in the forest. So anyways, I kept looking around for wet wipes in the forest of Nepal. And I didn't find any, long story short. I found lots of dead birds. I found a lot of twigs, leaves. I found those birds with the little things on their heads. You know the ones? I found no wet wipes. I found no wet wipes. At this point, I forgot about my hands being covered in raspberry. So I just carried on my way. I realized there's nothing in the Nepal forest I want. So why did I come here? And I remembered back to the conversation I made with my travel agent. She said it would be really fun, something different for you. She said, you're in a rut. She told me, you're in a rut. You need to go to someplace different. She said, try the forest in Nepal. It was a great experience. Terrifying, because the leopards were hungry. Don't forget to go over to meganchurchmusic.com, all right? Head on over there, sign our petition to send pigeons to space. And we're sending them up to space, okay? We're sending them up there. It's a protest against attacks on silly string. We won't stand for it any longer. We stand united together. And while you're over there, don't forget to check out the 70-cent guitar ebooks. We got 2 of them. Welcome. We got the 70-cent Guitar Study ebook. That is a Guitar Study ebook. It has a bunch of chord shapes, scale shapes, all in one place, with the root notes in all of them. And not only that, but it's all organized in the cage system. So there are pages, as you probably see right now, that tell you all of the main musical structures that live within each caged category, as I mentioned before. Were you listening? Yeah. There's a bunch of theory concepts all in visual examples, so if you're a visual learner, that's for you. And we also got the 70-cent beginner guitar guide. I'm shrugging my shoulders, but you can't see it down here. This one is, it's for beginners. It's a beginner guitar guide. It's what it is. It tells you all that you need to learn to begin playing guitar, and it's even got a practice schedule to implement all of the things. And we also got the course, Key to Music Theory World Tour course. It is the course that I mentioned before when I was talking about the major scales and how we build them and all of that stuff. That's the one that I was talking about. And so if you look there, you'll see what I was talking about the course, you know? And thanks for watching, thanks for being, thanks for all that you do. Don't forget, if you're sequentured, there's a way out. Please dial the phone number at the bottom of the screen to get your sequencer pamphlet. Don't forget, you're not alone. And if you think that you are, stop it. Thank you. Chords.